All right. Welcome to the Lone Ranger Radio Show with Bruce Woodburn, CrossCountry Mortgage. I am so grateful to be here. I'm going to go ahead and give a disclaimer in just a second, but I want to thank you for joining me today. We got a lot to talk about. Trump's speech in Switzerland was unbelievable. It made me laugh several times, almost made me cry. But I got to tell you something. At the end of the day, he just nailed it and brought it right home. And as much as I was against the whole Greenland thing, I think it makes sense. And I didn't realize that we had given Greenland to the Dutch. I had no idea. I didn't realize that it was in our possession after the war, and then we gave it up. And there's really not much there. And I can't imagine that Denmark is getting a bunch of revenue off of Greenland to begin with. And even though there is some rare earth there, I don't think it's like a gold mine or rare earth. I think it really is designed to protect us in Europe from the bad guys. So thanks for joining today. My name's Bruce Woodburn. I am the Lone Ranger, CrossCountry Mortgage. I've been in the mortgage business for 35 years. I buy and sell real estate. I invest in real estate. I am the regional vice president for CrossCountry Mortgage Central Florida. I lend in all 50 states. I built my team of originators and my team that helps me get my clients' loans approved to where it is as smooth as you can possibly be. And listen, CrossCountry is a great company to be with. I wouldn't switch companies. We have everything we need, fastest underwriting, more programs than anyone else. Yet, I'm going to tell you, not all CrossCountry branches are the same. So if you're working with another CrossCountry branch and you feel like maybe you want to work with me, then feel free to give me a call. In Tampa, I can be reached at 813-213-4009 or 407-706-3313, or go to webringyouhome.com. We got a lot to talk about. But before we get too far, I want to let you know that last week I had total hip replacement surgery on my left hip. And I'm doing great, but I am recovering at home. So I'm recording and broadcasting from home. So the sound system is not going to be quite as good as you would normally hear when I'm in the studio. I am on pain meds right now. So if I say something or do something that sounds out of character, well, hey, guess what? I got a good excuse. So we'll just have to live with that. But we got a lot of things to cover. And what a crazy week this week was. And man, are the Democrats going crazy. I can't, I laughed. I laughed so hard when they were talking about Gavin Newsom and being, the Ken doll, Sprinkle Beach Ken doll. And oh my God, it makes so much sense. But, there's so much happening right there. And he just, Trump just laid it out, man, laid it out. So I, I, I was reluctant to think that this whole Greenland thing would be a positive outcome, but I think it probably will be. And he wouldn't do it if it wasn't the right thing and the right thing for us. And I think he wants it to be the right thing for Europe and Denmark too. And I think he laid it on the table when it came to NATO that we can't be the ones that fund, 90% of NATO. So there's a lot of things going on right now. And, but I'm excited about our future. I will tell you that interest rates have been very rocky ever since that announcement and even leading up to it. And I think Wall Street's just a little uneasy until things settle down a little bit and some of these deals get inked. So we'll see how that goes as well. I want to cover a lot of things in this show. I am going to, in the next segment, have a guest on with me, Cleve Loveland, who also is a co-host of mine on WDBO on Saturdays as well. So great real estate agent. We're going to talk a lot about what's going on in the market. He's going to give some real great market updates. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. Again, if you have questions for the Lone Ranger, you want to talk to me about a scenario, maybe you're looking to purchase. Maybe you're thinking it's time to refi. Maybe you're getting flooded like me in the mail by all kinds of solicitations to refinance. Is it the right time? I want to discuss that. I want to be completely transparent as to whether it is or is not the right time to refinance. Will interest rates get a little bit better? It's really hard to tell, but we're going to talk about the probability of that as well. 813-213-4009 or 407-706-3313, or apply online at webringyouhome.com. Another thing that Trump and Bissett were talking about was helping people become homeowners. So he's looking at 50-year mortgages. I don't think that's going to work. He's looking at buying mortgage-backed securities. It's not going to be enough. You got to remember, $200 billion. I mean, that's what we would do in 1 month. So it's not going to, and that spread over, I think, a 4 or 5 month period of time. So is that going to move the needle? He's trying. He really is trying. And he is keeping inflation down. But I think it's just going to take a little bit of settling in the market for interest rates really to do the right thing. Because even just in the last 12 days, we've lost 80 basis points on the bond market. Now, that's not a good thing when we lose basis points on the bond market. So that meant that whatever was at 0 points a week ago Friday is at almost a full point today. So it's changed, and it's not changed for the better, but it's a temporary blip in the market. I'm encouraging people to get their applications in now, get approved for a loan. If you're going to go out shopping for a home, I've got all the tools that you need to be able to get the right mortgage. I'm a direct lender. Let me tell you how we operate. I'm not a mortgage broker. Can I mortgage broker? Sure, of course I can. I choose not to. Why? Mortgage brokers don't have any control of their transaction. They're basically an application taker, and then they have to send it to somebody like me to put the file together. Well, the companies that do that don't have the customer service. They don't care about people. They're not in the people business. They're in generating loan business, and they don't have all the skills to help you navigate through the process. And if you think that everything in your life is simple and easy, and all your finances are easy, and your credit's great, and you got plenty of money to put down, there's always something that requires a professional to look through it and say, I think we should probably put that on the side, and let's focus on getting information out of this part, or whatever it is in structuring it. But when you use a broker, you don't have anybody to help you with that. They're sending loans in to a wholesale lender and hoping that they'll approve the loan the way that they originated. And that may or may not be the case. For me, everything's in-house. First of all, my loan officers on my team are not commission-based. They are salary. So they're not trying to upsell you on anything. There's no benefit to them to do that. And I wanted it that way because a mortgage broker and a commission-based loan officer is always going to try to get a client into a product that might make them a higher commission split. And it just doesn't need to happen that way. I do enough volume that I can keep our margins low for our clients, so we can offer the best possible interest rates, the lowest possible closing costs, so that we can pass that on to you. CrossCountry Mortgage, you don't see any advertisements. There's no ads. Everything we do is face-to-face. We talk to clients, we educate clients, we meet with our real estate agents, we build relationships with the real estate agents. They in turn then feel confident in referring their clients to us so that their clients have a good experience. And listen, you may be golden. You may have an 800 credit score and want to put 30% down, but you still need a level of service, and you get what you pay for. I had a client the other day. He said, Bruce, I got this offer from a credit union and they're a little bit better than yours. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to go with them. Well, he was into it for 3 weeks, and I heard back from him. I actually had checked in with him. I heard back from him. And he said, yeah, it's not really a good process, Bruce. This has not been a fun situation. So I said, so you gave me up for basically about $500 in closing costs and about $30 in payment. And I said, was it worth it? Because you're going to miss your closing date. The seller's pissed off at you, and you might not even get that rate after you have to have extensions. So at the end of the day, did he really get something better? No, because he came back to me and we're doing the loan. So I'm just telling you, you get what you pay for, and you know that. You don't need me to tell you that. 407-706-3313 or 813-213-4009. They were talking about on the whole Davro meeting, the summit, that we want to help more people become homeowners. So one of the things they talked about is reducing the penalties in a 401k. I like that idea for first-time home buyers, even move-up buyers. Reduce the penalties or eliminate the penalties for home ownership only. That's the only thing. We aren't a country of renters. And some of these Democrats want us to be a country of renters. Listen, there is no such thing as a rich renter. You look around the room, you look at everybody you know, you look at them and you ask them, do you own a home? Do you have money in your 401k? Do you save money? Do you have good credit? People that have money in the bank, equity in their homes, pay their bills on time, better credit, have more money. So if you wonder why you aren't one of those people, you have created the issue for yourself. Now, listen, I'm not about being a victim. And believe me, I've gone down the wrong path in my life before. You just need somebody that understands that. And I do, because I've been there and I've done that and I've fixed it. And now my job is to help people like you and people that you may know get themselves into a position so that they can become a homeowner. Now, I like the idea of waiving all fees for 401ks, but I also like the idea of thinking about how you're going to help your adult children or your adult grandchildren. Now, listen, folks, you're sooner or later, if you've got any money, you're going to leave that to your family. And your family does not always know what to do with that money, particularly if they're not accustomed to having money. So there's a couple things you want to do. You want to create a ladybird deed for your home that you own, so it does not have to go into probate. You want a will and trust so that everything's sorted out. And you should have a meeting with your family to discuss what it is they want and what you may want them to have, so that these things are sorted out in advance. Because if you want to see a family torn apart, die without a will and trust. You will rip that family apart. It's horrible. And I see it every day, folks. So you want to have that. Now, think about this. Let's just say you're going to leave 4 children and a couple grandchildren, 30, 40, 50 grand each. You know, you may have $500,000 in the bank. I don't know what you have, but you're going to leave some money to your family. Wouldn't it be better to set that up so that money created wealth rather than just a brand new, Boston Whaler boat or an 80-inch screen TV or something silly that they're going to waste their money on? So create it so that they have to buy property. But do this, help them while you're alive. So you can give them a gift as a family member. I have to document it. I got to see where your money is, how it transferred over them. But why don't we help these folks that are struggling right now? And listen, it's not undeniable. We are in a situation where it is more difficult for young people to become homeowners than it was just a few years ago. So we've got to fix that problem. And the only way that's going to fix itself for the long term is for income to go up or cost to go down. Well, costs aren't going down. Even if inflation gets flat, like it almost is, or into deflation, you're not going to fix that problem, because it doesn't mean that prices go back down to where they were. It just means that they're not going up at a higher pace. So help them now. Give them a gift now. Put it toward purchasing a home. It's a gratifying opportunity for you to help them. So, and I think that Trump and Bissett were talking about that as to how you could help them. Now, listen, I got to take a quick break. I'm going to bring Cleve on in the next segment. And then in the third segment, we're going to really drill down on some opportunities that are there in the market. 813-213-4009. That's 813-213-4009 in Tampa at 407-706-3313. That's 407-706-3313, or webringyouhome.com. I'll be right back.